Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of the heads-up display tutorial. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna design these bars and the crosscut as well, and the whole setup is to have it fit exactly within the whole kind of square box, and the crosscut lines, they should fit into those corners no matter how big this is or small, right? So yeah, let me just take you through it. So what we want is to create another shape layer, crossbar. Now go to color and just get rid of properties I don't need. I just want to fill and go into size. So the way I want to calculate this, I want to look at the similar way as the border. So basically, I want to, let me just turn off this opacity. I want to look at the number of dots and the gap and just basically push it X and Y. Okay, so dot numbers, that's what we need. Okay, big whip. So we have some expressions to start with. So basically, this is the distance of the dots, like across or vertically, etc. With this case, we're using this as y value, and x is 2. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to have some kind of control over the thickness of this line. For example, if I want to make it thinner or thicker and so on. So what we can do is simply duplicate the slider, change it to like crossbar thickness. Always give names to stuff, so later on it's easier to find out what's missing or what's broken. And we're just gonna copy paste it here. There you go. So I'm just bringing these expressions to Expressionist, and now because I'm using the same variable as the same name for the slider, this way I can just quickly drag and drop it. So like that, and if I apply this, there you go. So this is size of 30. Something's wrong. Oh, sorry, I'm modifying wrong one. There you go. So I can make it thinner or thicker, nice and easy, no problems, right? So let's say make it 10 for now. Now we need to fix this mess, right? Okay. So as I mentioned before, if I just bring this up. Okay, the distance is number of dots times number of gap. But the problem is, if we have like 9 dots, it calculates gap 9 times, but the last one is outside our range. So what we want to do is take away 1 dot and just put this into brackets. Okay, like this. There you go. And if I zoom in, that fits perfectly. And as well, it reminds me, if I bring stroke here, I don't want to just keep digging it, looking for it, and so on and so on. What I can do is make another slider, change it to like border thickness, and just grab expression pick whip, drop it here, and done, right? So this way I can, for example, quickly make it thicker or thinner, let's say like size 1, and let's see. Yeah, this fits all the way to the edge, right? Even overlaps a little bit. I don't want to make another layer. Like, my idea of working with After Effects is to use as little layers as possible, as little keyframes as possible, so then I can modify one thing and that feeds into another and another thing, right? So what we can do is use a crossbar and then add a repeater. Okay, repeater. And then I just want don't affect the position and just rotate it by 90 degrees, like so. Make sure you have just only 2 copies, right? Otherwise, this will keep rotating 90 degrees back again. So as you can see, this one becomes a little more solid because it just overlaps it, right? And if I make it like 4 times and so on and so on, you don't need this extra data. You just get what you need, right? In theory, you can do, you know, like extra custom stuff, but then this one is obviously the exact same size as the main one. Okay, So that's why I just want to keep it at 90 and be done with it. Okay, now this step, how to get those crosses nicely. You can do the same thing with the shape layer and then just try to position it and so on and so on, and then play with the sizing to get the values. So it's a little bit kind of like, when I was doing it, a little bit complex. So I thought like, why don't I just make a single path like this? Okay, and then call it, how should we call it? Okay, X line, bottom left to top right. Okay, find all the properties. We don't need the fill. Okay, so now what I need is go find path, and I want to attach these points to the nulls. And After Effects, where are you? Create nulls from paths. This is like a free script included in After Effects. It does for you just that. So basically, just click one button, points follow nulls. It makes all the nulls for you. If you go back to it, and now these guys, if you just actually grab them right, there you go. They follow. The line will follow the nulls where you want it to go. Okay, and again. Yeah, perfect. So what I want to do is I want to make sure everything is at 100. I like to work with exact values, like 100% and so on and so on. So then later on, I don't have to figure out why this thing is too thick versus this one and so on and so on, right? Okay, so let's rename stuff because it will help our sanity. So this one is, the way After Effects works is 00 is here as in a point of pixels and values. In here you have the end of your composition. So for example, 1000 pixels, or if you're working in Full HD, it's like 1080p. So this is like 1080 pixels. 00, 1920, and if you're working Full HD, then down there it will be like 1080. But this point needs to be calculated from this as a 0, right? So we have to kind of do some gymnastics to figure this out. But that shouldn't be a problem, hopefully. Okay, so let's just grab one of the values, like so. Go to Expressionist. If we simply multiply this dot number by the gap, it will tell us, okay, it's so and so, but then it will come from this point. So what I want to know to counter this, it's to use composition width and height. By 2, same thing, just use half of that because I just want to offset this whole kind of amount backwards. Okay, hopefully this will make sense in a second. Basically, what's happening now is this, the grid size is using the whole thing to offset it this way, right? So what we want to do, yeah, it's basically halve it. There you go. So this offset is, again, it's using all the gaps, but basically in our array, or array like a line, you have 8 gaps but 9 dots. So what you want to do is basically take away 1 dot, and that fits in perfectly. There you go. And we can do the same thing for the top right, okay? But basically, so if I apply exactly the same position, this null will be here. So what we want to do is, instead of taking away the x, we want to add x, add the grid size to the position x. So it will push it here, and then take away the y. So it will push it up, because at the moment everything is calculated from this point. There you go, and that's it, and it's done. And basically what you want to do is you want to repeat the same process, which is draw a path, connect the nulls, and apply the same expressions, and then send it to here and there. Okay, so I will speed up through that part for you. And there you go, so you have perfect X, and now let's test this. Where's controller? Control is here. So if I change the number of dots, all of those nulls, etc., they should hopefully align and stay. So let's see. There you go. And that perfectly stays in the center. And if I just hide them, because we don't need to see them, there you go. And you can animate it, and this will perfectly stay as it's supposed to stay there, right? In the same exact position you defined that. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next part where we tackle the circles.